Greetings from Redefined Church. I'm Joel Van Briggle, and I'm delighted you've chosen to be with us today. Redefined Church is a gathering of people from many different nations and various backgrounds who are exploring faith at the intersection of life, community, and mission. Our desire is that you sense that you belong. Whether you've been attending church for many years or you've never come to church before, we want you to know that you belong. If you'd like to speak with someone about furthering your journey and perhaps needing prayer, we want to connect with you. Drop us a message and we would love to connect with you to help you take next steps. You are also always welcome at our in-person gatherings at our Overijse campus and our Tervuren campus. Check our social media and website for all the details. We look forward to connecting with you. And now, today's message. Merry Christmas. We're continuing in our series, What's in the Box? Have you ever found yourself looking at those wrapped presents under the tree and think to yourself, I wonder what's in the box? And maybe we remember back when we were a little child, because now most of us are wrapping the presents. But with that, have you ever shaken it, maybe smelled it, or felt the weight or the size of the package, wondering what is in the box? Well, Anthony is our analytical child, and he didn't really have to be a rocket scientist to figure out that he loved Lego, and one little shake of the box, he knew he was getting Lego again. But with that being said, I'm fascinated that in our anticipation of what is in the box, it certainly matters who is giving the gift. I remember as a child, we would gather at my grandma's house, and our cousins and aunts and uncles and everybody would be together, and we would begin to open presents. And I knew if that little label said, to Joel, from Uncle Kurt and Aunt Nancy, my dad's brother and sister-in-law, Uncle Kurt and Aunt Nancy were the best gift givers. I knew that whatever was wrapped in that package, I would have a lot of fun with. They always bought the coolest stuff. And so when we see these things and we anticipate, it really matters who is giving the gift. Who gives the gift matters. And so as we've looked over the last few weeks about hope, and the fact that hope is found, and that Mary encountering the angel, and all the things that happened in the coming of Jesus, and then peace coming into the world, and Pastor Albert talking that the peace itself may not be seen when we see wars and things that are happening all around, but that peace that Jesus brought was peace deep within our heart, no matter what is happening around us. And last week we saw the children's production where the character Jacob, who was a skeptic of all skeptics, had lots of questions. But in light of all of the events surrounding the coming of God into our world, our Creator coming into the creation, began to dispel some of those questions, and Jacob responded to following Christ. And today, in season of anticipation and waiting, what could be in the box today? Well, in that box, we're going to look at a very untraditional Christmas passage. So if you'll be patient with me today, I just want to take a look at a non-traditional passage, but really reveals, I believe, what Christmas is all about. And so as you get an opportunity this next week and even tomorrow on Christmas Day, I hope that you read through the Gospel of Matthew's narrative of the coming of Jesus and Luke's chapter 1 and 2, reading the story about Jesus' coming. But with that, I want to look into the Gospel of John, chapter 3, starting in verse number 16 and reading through verse 21. For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have eternal life. For God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but to save the world through him. Whoever believes in him is not condemned, but whoever does not believe stands condemned already, because they have not believed in the name of God's one and only Son. This is the verdict. Light has come into the world, but people loved darkness instead of light, because their deeds were evil. Everyone who does evil hates the light, and will not come into the light for fear that their deeds will be exposed. But whoever loves and lives by truth comes into the light, so that they may be seen plainly that what they have done has been done in the sight of God. So what's in the box? Well, it's God's love, wrapped in the most unusual way, given to the world who wasn't even sure that they wanted what he was giving. It's always been curious to me that the free gift of God's love has been resisted, questioned, distorted, and even rejected. I've been mystified by that. We would never turn away a gift that's given to us, and yet we see it over and over. Why do we think that is? Well, I think there's a few reasons that God's free gift of love has been rejected or resisted. And it's, number one, our view of God. If we view God as an angry judge, as someone who's ready to just squash us or to pound us or to make us feel guilty or to crush us with shame, or perhaps we envision God as a distant nothingness. Or maybe we see God as a grand puppeteer who just seems to mess with our lives. Some have just considered him unknown, that God is a nebulous, that he's something out there, but we don't know who it is. And some are even disillusioned by things that have been done in the name of God, that God himself probably just is brokenhearted about. And yet how we view God impacts how we will receive a gift from him. Not only our view of God, but second, our desires. John states here that the world loves darkness. I think all of us, we'd like to be our own ruler. We like to be in control. We want to be the ones calling the shots. And as we do, I think that our view of God, our desires, and even our fear of our deeds being exposed, as verse 20 says, fear that we won't be accepted by God, or fear that we will become locked into an uncomfortable way of life. There's all sorts of different reasons that we resist God, or why we hold off on receiving the gift that he has given. But with that, I want us to kind of capture this, because if we miss it, we miss the heart of Christmas. We miss what's in the box for us that God has freely given. John's revelation of who God is and God's motivation is so crucial for us in this season. God is loving. His whole motivation for you is love. For God so loved the world that he gave. His whole motivation was his love for you. Now that's even hard to understand. Sometimes when we don't even see ourselves as lovable. In fact, some of us even face critical moments each and every day of our life of whether we even love ourselves. And yet God loved us so much, even in our brokenness, even in our frailty, even in our weaknesses, he loved us. His whole motivation was to bring hope, peace, joy, and love, to bring you life and to bring you fulfillment and to make you and allow you to experience what it is to have a relationship with that loving God. And God is not only loving, he is generous. I love that verse 16 says he loved the world so much that he gave. God is a giving God. He's not looking for us to try to earn or try to do good things or to try to win favor with him. No, even when we were at our worst, he loved us and then he gave to us. Ephesians chapter 3, verses 14 through 19 says this, and this is a prayer really written by the Apostle Paul to the Ephesian church. It says, "For this reason I kneel before the Father, from whom every family in heaven and on earth derives its name. I pray out of his glorious riches, that he may strengthen you with power through his Spirit in your inner being, so that Christ may dwell in your hearts through faith. And I pray that you, being rooted and established in love, may have power together with all the Lord's holy people to grasp," get this, "how wide, how long, how high, and how deep is the love of Christ, and to know this love that surpasses knowledge, that you may be filled with the measure of all the fullness of God." What a beautiful picture. So what's in the box? There's no box that could possibly contain God's love. How wide, how vast, how deep, how long. All of these, the images that we cannot contain what Christmas is all about. In fact, Jesus' earthly body could not contain all that he is and all that he desires for us. Our desire is to control, but unfortunately, our ability to control is merely a fraud. It's a lie that we tell ourselves. We say that we're good and we've got this. But that's why Jesus came, because we don't have this. We don't have it all together. We don't have all the answers. We don't even have the capacity to love ourselves, let alone to interact in the world that God has given us. It is through him, it is through his love that it makes a difference. And our fear, my friends, that fears that we have that keep us from embracing God's gifts. Oh, can I tell you that 1 John chapter 4, verses 18 and 19 say this: "There is no fear in love, but perfect love drives out fear, because fear has to do with punishment. The one who fears is not made perfect in love. We love because he first loved us." What shall we do with this box of God's love? Oh, this Christmas was designed for you. There's a package that's available to you. What should we do with that? Open it. It's like any Christmas present. As long as it's wrapped and it's not opened, it's useless. But when we open it, and we are open today, can I tell you, be open today. Be free today. Be forgiven today. Be embraced today. He loves you so much. Verse 17 of our text says this in John 3:17, "For God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but to save the world through him." Put aside that picture of God as the angry judge. Put aside that picture of God who's distant and unknowable. Take a moment and say, "God, I hear you loved me so much that you gave your Son for me." Embrace that love today and to sense that love today, because that gift is for you. And friends, don't let this season be caught up in all of the chaos of this season without recognizing that God has given you a free gift. One of his love that comes with hope, not a wishful thinking, but powerful, confident hope, and comes with a peace that is everlasting no matter what you're going through. And it comes with a joy. A sense of freedom, a sense of joy in the midst of the most dark circumstances. And it is completely wrapped up in God's love as a gift for you. Let me pray with you today. God, I pray that even right now, that Lord, those who have been resistant, those who have rejected your gift, God, I pray that their hearts would be touched by your Spirit today, that Lord, their heart would be open to receive, and that God, you would meet people right where they are. God, I thank you that it can't be found under a Christmas tree, but Lord, it comes in the gentle, soft voice of your Spirit today as you draw people towards your love and towards your grace, towards your forgiveness, towards your freedom, toward your peace. In your precious name I pray. Amen.
Thank you so much for joining us here at Redefined Church. If you have any questions or want prayer, we encourage you to send us a private message. We would be happy to connect with you and to pray with you to help you in your faith journey. Make sure this week to get a hold of the Redefining Moments. You can find those on our website and on our Facebook page. It's a daily prayer and Bible reading guide designed to help you grow and in your walk with Jesus Christ. Make sure that you check out our website so that you can see everything that's happening and to be part of that here at Redefined Church. May God bless you, and we hope that you have an incredible week.